Hello, and welcome to another video by your nerdy criminal justice professor, Dr. B. This is a video for CRJU 293, Juvenile Justice. To keep the videos shorter and more manageable for viewing in this unit, the lecture will be divided into smaller units. It is imperative that you watch all the videos and in the order of their number. In this series of videos, the objectives will be: 1, describe the historical context of current juvenile justice practice in the U.S. 2, define and analyze the concept of parens patriae in the practice of juvenile justice in the U.S. And 3, describe the historical developments related to juvenile justice in the U.S. Now, before we discuss the history of juvenile justice in the U.S., we must first understand how ancient civilizations viewed juveniles in the context of behavior that deviated from their accepted cultural norms. The Code of Hammurabi, the earliest known written legal code, distinguished juvenile offenses as separate from adult offenses. The Old Testament or Hebrew scriptures, the New Testament, and the Quran all see parents as the moderators of justice for their children. It is important to recognize that the criminal justice system in the U.S., including the juvenile justice system, was developed by Christians such as Quakers who wished to make the system of punishment more humane and focused on change for the better. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all addressed age-related issues in responding to deviant behavior. According to the Jewish Talmud, a document that interpreted some of the Hebrew scriptures but also included rules for the community, girls became adults at 12 years old and boys became adults at 13 years old. However, according to the Talmud, there was no capital punishment for those under 20 years old. In Islam, capital punishment was not permitted for those under 12 years old. Throughout its history, what we now call juvenile justice has grappled with the question, at what age is a person fully responsible for their actions? We can all accept that a 4-year-old is not responsible for stealing merchandise from a store, but a 14-year-old possesses greater responsibility. But at what age does the child move into responsibility? That is the question. The Romans had a legal code known as the 12 Tables. According to the 12 Tables, there were 3 stages of childhood. You should recognize their labels. From birth to 7 years old, the child was called infans, or infant. Proximus infantia was roughly 7 years old to 12 years old for girls and 14-year-old for boys. Proximus pubertae was from 12 years old for girls and 14 years old for boys. You should notice from this discussion so far that the ages are very similar. The defining feature for the ancients was the ability to distinguish between right and wrong. This was malleable for the Romans as well as other cultures. Hopefully you remember the term mens rea from your Introduction to Criminal Justice class. This term means criminal intent. Most ancient cultures still considered the ability of the individual to form criminal intent. We have already mentioned the New Testament, but at this point we need to examine the beliefs of the church fathers, such as St. Augustine. Augustine introduced the concept of original sin into the Christian theology. While Christians throughout the centuries have grappled with the age of accountability, St. Augustine taught that the infant was born in sin and therefore accountable to God immediately. It was this theological concept that led to infant baptism. The Christian controversy over the age of accountability was closely tied to the issue of infant baptism. The collection of denominations that we call Baptists today were given the derogatory term Anabaptists, which means rebaptizers. All of this highlights the idea that there has continued to be controversy over when a person is accountable, responsible, and culpable.